What is up, CALLOUS Invitational fans? Just narrated Mead and Jim Cool for you guys this morning, and here we are 15 hours later after spending 12 or so of them at work, as I tend to do on Saturdays. Hot off the presses, I'm back home, ready to do 2 more sets for you. It was only supposed to be 1 set, this one, but actually another set that was scheduled to play on Sunday ended up playing a day early, so I've got that set for you as well. So some late night narration going on here, a little CI6 play-ins action. So here we have the set, like I said, that was actually scheduled to play today. They played at their scheduled time. It is Rob Jr. and Pkleech. And according to you guys, very heavily, Rob is one of the guys who you think is going to make it through the bracket. He's one of the 4 or 5 people that you guys heavily thought had a good chance to do well in these play-ins. Pkleech is someone who you guys seem to have a mixed opinion on. He seems very well liked in the community, specifically ADV people really seem to like and respect him and think that he has a very high ceiling, which I would agree with. However, the consistency for him is not always there, and he's one of those players who may have a very high ceiling, but not necessarily a high floor. Might have a pretty low floor, actually. And based on how he's feeling and his emotions at that time, his play can really fluctuate. But his ceiling's very good, and he's someone who can beat Rob. Now, I am on record predicting Rob to win this match, as you guys saw in the live video, but I wouldn't be shocked if Leech got it done. I think he's very capable. So this is a good match. This is a tough round 1 pairing. These are both players that really have the potential to make a deep run and possibly win their bracket. Unfortunately, one of them will be out in this round of 8. So let's get into it. It is a best of 3, as you guys are aware. Here's game 1, and Rob's on the bottom, Leech is on the top. It is a Zapdos and a T-Tar, the 2 most common leads in the game. BP to meta, and just a Rock Slide. That is obviously a non-banded Rock Slide based on the damage, and he's going to switch it up to EQ. Retaliation, Meteor Mash, heavy damage to both, but T-Tar is alive and faster. He gets cute with a Dragon Dance and is insta-punished with a Thunder Punch. However, turns out that it doesn't matter because Mag comes in for revenge, so as long as there's no Dougie here, which there is not, it's just going to be an even trade. That would have been really bad, though, had there been a Doug trio. That would have resulted in just a 2-for-1 for Rob very early on. So we end up lax on lax here, 40% from that one. That's pretty hefty. And Leech is now going to blow up into thin air, which is also not what he wants to be doing. So Rob clearly with the advantage in this early game here. He goes back to lax. Immediate Psychic from B. Nice 4th there, 25%. This one just a smidge less at 24%. And Body Slam does a lot. Does over a third, and it gets para. Lax now faster. Celebi out of the way. Here's Magneton. Also eating a Body Slam. A smidge under a third, 32%, but it avoids the para. It does not have lefties. Very well might just have Magnet, which is the most common item, but it could also be a Salic Berry. And he goes Hidden Power Ice, which, I mean, is not unheard of, but Fire is certainly more common, and I think Grass is probably more common than Ice as well. Ice is probably the least common Magneton Hidden Power, but it's the one that you want to have here, doing good damage against the Zapdos, and it actually is the Endure Salic Berry set. Not very common these days. It's almost always Magnet, but here it is, now outspeeding Zapdos and forcing him out. The problem with this particular configuration when he is HP Ice is there's really nothing he can do to this Swampert here. HP Ice is it. He doesn't even have Toxic. Swampert, as you may have noticed, is not gaining leftovers, so we're looking at an end pert here. Dragon Dance and Sub. Leech must have noticed that he doesn't, I mean, he knows now with a Sub, but he must have noticed before then that he doesn't have lefties, so it's interesting that he chose to DD into it rather than just straight attack. He must think it's very important to be faster after the Salic Berry kicks in, which he achieved by getting that Dragon Dance off. So Endeavor will kill the Gyarados when combined with the Sand. It's going to do huge damage on the meta as well, but Agility is now going to make the Metagross faster. But it is going to have to do a lot of cleanup duty here. Rob's got 4 pokes even after Swampert dies. Ooh, but he might really have a problem if this is his best thing he can do. He goes to Zapdos, and all Zapdos... yeah, I mean, Zapdos is just banking on Rock Slide or Meteor Mash missing, but if that's his best out, all Leech has to do is connect with one of those moves, 85 and 90% accurate respectively. The initial attack raise that he got is pretty huge here. Yeah, there's Lax. Wow. And Rob simply forfeits. Apparently the Agiligros, he just cannot handle it at all after the Swampert got low. Rob had 4 pokes left against Leech's 2, and that's including the fact that Celebi already has a third of chip damage on it. Rob was just really ahead until he wasn't. All of a sudden, that one raise was huge, and the Agiligros just cleaned up everything. Not clear what Rob's last mon is. I thought it would have been Tyranitar with the end pert there, but T-Tar a lot of the time is going to live that +1 Earthquake, unless it's the most bulkless T-Tar in the world. So if it is T-Tar there, I don't know why you wouldn't go to that from Rob's seat. It would survive Earthquake, and then it wouldn't survive Mash, but Mash is only 85%, so you have a chance to at least dodge that. So it's a premature concession for sure if it is T-Tar, but like I said, the way this was played, I don't think that it is a T-Tar, and then it's clearly not a Dugtrio because that would have come in on the mag earlier in the game. So I really and truly don't know what the last poke was for Rob. But I mean, there's so many things. If it were a Salamence, you should play to dodge the Mash/Rock Slide. I don't know. I'm very curious what it was, but it feels like in a lot of situations he could have played for a Mash or Rock Slide miss. But maybe we'll never know. That is going to be Game 1 in surprising comeback fashion for Pkleech, and Rob Jr., a player that many of you felt is one of the strongest players in these play-ins and maybe should have even been invited to the main event, now has his back against the wall and is going to have to prove himself by getting 2 games in a row against Pkleech, which he's certainly capable of doing. So he's going to have to win this one and a potential Game 3. Here is the second game. Rob's on the bottom again, Leech is on the top again, and they're going to have T-Tar leads on both sides. Both of them are going to stay in, which is a little awkward. Rock Slide and Earthquake respectively. It looks like a CB Tower for Leech, but not for Rob. Earthquake connecting with a Pert here. And out of the way we go. Here's Celebi, and Surf comes down. It took a good amount from that initial Earthquake. I wonder if it's a more offensive-leaning Pert. Either way, it gets out of the way. Calm Mind here is great and all, but Aerodactyl should immediately scare it out, even though he got that Calm Mind. And indeed, out of the way it goes. Hidden Power there, and back to Celebi for Leech. And by back to, I mean Celebi for the first time for Leech. Ice Beam 56%, that's got to be some kind of offensive Celebi to be taking that amount of damage. And he goes for Giga Drain there. I think we're looking at a Super Celebi, actually, to take the Ice Beam that poorly from Swampert. Zard here, Fire Blast, comes up just shy of killing T-Tar, but should be able to outspeed it and finish it here. And indeed, Leech lets it go. So Rob is going to take the lead in this game. Here's the arrow follow-up that we already knew was there. He can make a prediction. No. He goes straight for the Rock Slide. Misses the Earthquake opportunity on what was a unrevealed Jirachi. Going to go for Ice Punch here. A little less than a third. Does not get the 20% Serene Grace freeze that he obviously would love to have gotten. And Celebi comes in on Earthquake from Claydol here. Back to B. And it's straight Giga Drain, aimed at the doll, of course. Not that exciting against his counterpart. Aerodactyl comes in. Ooh, I don't like that Calm Mind from Rob. I mean, I think you just Giga Drain again there because it's so obvious that Aerodactyl comes in. I think he missed an opportunity there to get some chip off. Neutrally hit the arrow, it would have been decent, and get some health back. The Calm Mind completely wasted there if arrow comes in, like I said, which is the obvious switch. So I think that was a poor turn from Rob. I don't think the CM had a lot of upside there. But he did get out of the way. Again, afraid of the arrow, as he should be. And again, it comes in. See, that's good chip there that he missed last time. 38% to the arrow. That's going to add up. He can't take many of these at all. Jirachi comes in. And Leech, again, is not able to pull the trigger on Earthquake. It, again, is going to be a resisted Rock Slide. Rob pivoting nicely. Gets his own Pert in against his counterpart. Ice Beam, 26%. Ice Beam back, 24%, respectively. Faster Pert seems to belong to Rob. And, well, the only Pert seems to belong to Rob. He's going to get him with the surprise Hidden Power Grass. And down goes the Swampert for Leech, who now finds himself in a bigger hole, down 6-4 against Rob, who is rallying to send us to a Game 3. but a Fire Blast crucially misses, and the damage roll cooperates for Psychic. Double bad turn there for Rob. Fire Blast obviously kills the Celebi there if it connects, but he misses 85%. And then Psychic, I don't think is 100% to kill there, but he got the cooperative damage roll. That gives Leech a little bit of a window back into this game. He's going to have to really get there with the Aerodactyl. T-Tar comes in this time, and Leech every time has simply clicked Rock Slide. And that's what he's going to do again. And this time, Rob is going to let that happen despite having 2 resistances in the back. He's going to let the T-Tar go, which I don't think he needed to do. I think he should have switched to either Rachi or Swampert. But he sees it differently. He lets T-Tar go, and it leaves us in a 4-3 situation, which quickly becomes a 3-2 situation after Claydol booms. Leech shows his last poke Jirachi here. Calm Mind and Hydro Pump here. Is it a non-Earthquake Swampert? Yeah, he's going to show his last move, Focus Punch, but it's never going to get off. HP Grass is going to get him there. Starmie coming in. Does it have T-Wave? No, he goes Hydro Pump. And he gets rocked by Thunderbolt. And now it's only Jirachi for Rob. His lead completely out the window. Leech basically deja vu here. Somehow coming back with his last Mon in the very late game, just as he did in the first game. But there's a huge crit for Rob. That's going to make Substitute completely whiff for Leech. Can he connect one more time? He misses Thunder. That would have killed the Jirachi. Thunderbolt comes down. Gonna need cooperative luck here with Para and so forth. Thunderbolt 30% leaves him at 34. Thunder again 11%. But a different damage roll this time, 34% as opposed to 30 that it did last time. That is going to wrap it up. A little bit of a scare for Leech at the end, I'm sure, especially after both the para and the critical hit occurred. Obviously, Rob could have won that sequence, and then it would have gotten interesting with Arrow and Rachi and the obvious RNG factors, such as whether or not Thunder hits, whether or not Thunder paras, whether Earthquake crits, all that good stuff that could have occurred in that matchup. But we're never going to get to see it because Leech's Rachi ends up getting the job done. Wild set there. It's going to be a 2-0 victory for Leech, which is not what most of you guys predicted. Rob is going to be out without taking a game out of these play-ins, which, like I said, is an overall surprising outcome given how high a lot of people are on Rob Jr. and how good a lot of people believe Rob Jr. to be. But great job for Leech there. Pretty crazy. Rob felt not only ahead, but significantly ahead in both of those games, but in both cases, the last poke, Steelmon, actually, for Leech, first time Agilagro, second time Calm Mind sub Rachi, comes all the way back and cleans him up. In this one in particular, I'm not sure about the last one, but in this one, it felt like Rob did not meticulously manage his resources. I don't know that he blatantly, utterly tossed the game, but there were a couple of questionable plays. I think giving up the T-Tar when he didn't need to may have come back to bite him here. I think the T-Tar could have been a useful resource to some degree against this Jirachi. I think that he had 2 rock resists that he could have switched into the Arrow and kept the Tar in the back. Little things like that, but obviously luck factors such as missing the Fire Blast against the Celebi were also factors here because clearly the Charizard would have been helpful against this Jirachi had that still been alive. So there is a bit of shoulda, woulda, coulda here, but you guys know the rules. We could speculate all you want about what could have happened, would have happened. The only thing that matters is what did happen. That's a Leech victory, and he is moving on to the second round, round of 4, of the play-ins in his bracket, where he will face the yet-to-be-determined winner of Kale and Fio, which is going to occur tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. But like I said, guys, I have a whole nother set that I wasn't planning on narrating. That is going to be coming up next. So I hope that you enjoyed this set. Please do leave a thumbs up if you did. And I'm going to take a quick drink break and get to narrating the next one. I'll see you guys soon.